What's up, Lost Boys? Here we are for the Fantasy Festivus Week 15. But once again, before we get to Week 15, which is a big week for some people, let's take a look back at a huge Week 14. We're going to start with pretty much going to look at a couple teams' games. First one going to be Denny. Denny is clawing for that last playoff spot. And of all people he's clawing for, it looks to be Cass. Now, it looked like going into this week, Denny was going to finally come to his end. Pat was kind of on fire. His team was coming around. He was scoring a lot of points. And Denny took him out. And man, that game was much closer than it could have been or should have been. Pat got 20 points from Mike Williams on Sunday Night Football. And then, Denny got some decent points, whatever. But at the end of the day, Denny takes the dub. Look who it is, Jerick McKinnon, of all people. Denny only won by 6 points. Jerick McKinnon scored 28.9 points. So Jerick McKinnon basically saved Denny's season for now. Who would have thought that? Like I said, Pat's been doing really good. He just couldn't beat Denny this week. He scored 157 points. That was like the 5th most points of the week. Still couldn't take down Denny. Denny still on life support, still pushing it. Flip side, Cass loses again. And another injury. Kyler Murray looks like he's out for the year. Cass loses his starting quarterback. He puts up 85 points, one of the lowest scores we've had all year, and allows Denny to climb within striking distance of points. I mean, they're tied right now. Cass has 60 more points than him. Maybe 70, 80 more points than him, which that's probably insurmountable looking at the point wise in 1 week, but that's exactly how much Denny outscored him by this week. So you never know what can happen. But the crazy thing is Cass has lost 4 in a row. He was clearly in first place 5 weeks ago. He had the most points in the league. And after 4 losses in a row, after injury, after injury, after injury, he's still in 4th place. And he still has, obviously he has a chance, and he has a really good chance. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the Week 15 games. So Denny gets the dub against Pat, keeps his hopes alive. Cass takes the L, gets his ass smoked by Llama this week. So before we get to Week 15, let's go over the rest of the games that just happened. Josh played Tim, beat him by 70 points, wasn't close. Josh puts up 175 points, most points in the week. Big game from Evan Ingram. Don't need to really talk about that one. Justin and Jace. Justin puts up 174 points, goes off. This is what Justin's team looks like when it's right. Mahomes does good. Juju does good. James Conner does good. This is what Justin's team should have looked like from the beginning of the year, but he had to deal with some injuries and some inconsistencies. And speaking of Justin, let's not take it out of context. He is still alive. He's in 6th place. He's 7-7. Cass, Denny, Roman, they're all 8-6. So if they all lose, Justin wins, and Justin somehow scores a lot of points. Justin's going to have to outscore Cass by 140 points. But it's fantasy. We never know what could happen. But yeah, Justin mathematically still in the game. Learning computer this week absolutely demolished Cal. We knew that was going to happen. And then you look at, we already went over the llama drama. So those are pretty much all the games we had this week. The big ones were Denny taking the dub and Cass getting the L. So here we go, boys. Week 15, the last week of the regular season. It's here. It literally feels like just yesterday. We were at my house, chilling, fantasy draft, couldn't wait, oh man, like best weekend of the year, and here we are the last week of the fantasy football regular season, and we still don't know who our playoffs are going to be. Josh is clinched. Llama has not mathematically clinched, but pretty much clinched. He's at 2,100 points. There's no way that Denny's going to outscore him by 140 points. You don't think he is, but Llama's pretty much clinched. And then you have Learning, Cass, and Denny all there. Now, theoretically, Cass could win, Denny could win, and Roman could lose this week. And Roman could fall out of the playoffs, which is crazy to think. If someone would have told you that 4 weeks ago, you'd have said, no way, Roman's maybe the best team in the league. He's on fire, and it's on. But that's in point, and it's definitely doable. So let's get into these games. We have a huge slate of games this week. We're going to start with a big one that's going to have reverberations across the league. Our first place team, Josh versus Roman. Josh right now, most points for, least points against. We've never had that in our league before. He's dominating on the offensive side. His teams, especially over the last 4 weeks, they're just not scoring points. And he has the largest gap of victory in our league history. He's already clinched his playoff spot. He's playing Roman this week. Now, looking at it from Josh's point of view, he wants to play Cass in round 1. He wants to play Denny in round 1. So he wants Roman to win this game. He wants Roman to stay in that third 2-3 spot. So Roman plays Ryan in a battle of titans, and Josh gets to play Denny or Cass. But the question is, does Josh sit some players? Or is that even allowed? Now, I've spoken to Josh about this exact same topic, and because of the integrity of the league, because he hates to lose so much, he's not going to do it. He's going to start his boys. He wants to end the season with the most points scored. He's going all out, and it's Roman of all people. After stealing that championship from him a few years back, cheating his way to a title, Josh doesn't let Roman get any dubs. So Josh is going full force. Roman, on the other hand, like I said, if Josh can knock Roman out of the playoffs, that's just more sugar on the ice cream, baby. So he's going for it. Josh is going to try to take down Roman. Now, this is not going to be an easy task. Roman is a strong team. These two teams are projected to score over 150 points. Roman gets some of his guys back from bye this week, and these teams are both looking to be nearly full strength this week. Dallas Goddard might come back for Josh. We'll see if DJ Moore plays. Either way, this is going to be a battle. Josh is looking to knock Roman out of the playoffs, or maybe knock him down to the 4th seed. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm going to actually go with Josh in this one. I think with his team rolling, he beats Roman. It's a slim game. I think both teams perform. Josh takes down Roman, and who knows? Maybe knocks him out of the playoffs. We'll see. Next game, bye week. Tim versus Barreto. Not really much on the line. Yes, Justin is still technically, mathematically in there for the playoffs. He's playing Tim, so he's going to beat Tim. Justin needs to just end this year on a high note, go into next season, rolling some positivity, because you cannot lose to Tim in your last game of the season. You know, that's just a tearing your ACL in the last week if you're in the NFL. It's a punch to the stomach. So I got Justin beating Tim. Tim's sleeping right now. I don't even know if he knows that fantasy's still going on. But I got Justin taking out Tim this week. Next game, it's a monster. Danny versus Jace. Jace's team is awful. Let's call it how it is. He's not getting performances from his boys, and he's not really winning much games. He's 5-9. He's lost 2 in a row. He's in 9th place. Jace's motivation this week, not be last place. Now, let's be real. He's not going to get last place. He has 120 more points than Tim. So Tim's basically sealed himself in the last place. But who wants to tie with Tim for last place? No one does. So Jace is going for that victory this week. He has to try to knock Denny out. Denny, 4 in a row. 4 victories in a row, which is crazy to think. I've mentioned it before. Denny, looking back 5 weeks ago, he lost to Cal, of all people. Maybe the worst team in the league in Cal. He lost to Cal. If Denny would have gotten that dub against Cal, he'd be 9-5. He'd pretty much be set for the playoffs. I mean, really. You think about it. That's crazy to think. But he lost to Cal 5 weeks ago. He's run off a string of 4 straight wins. And he's right there at the finish line. Can he pull it out? I think he does. I think he takes down Jace this week. I think Denny gets to 9-6. Next game. Speaking of a man named Cal and a man named Cass who's falling. Cass's team is in disarray, but here comes his saving grace. It's not a bird. It's not a plane. It's not Superman. It's Cal to save Cass. Cal, who right now has the worst team in the league. I mean, they're terrible. They've been terrible all year. The only reason they're not last place is because he has the pretty much the second least points in the league against, 1903. I mean, people don't score points against Cal, but he has 1839 points for. Lamar doesn't look like he's going to play again this week. His team's bad. And that's right what Cass needs this week, is a dumper from Cal. It's pretty simple for Cass. He wins, he's in. And he's playing Cal. Cass on the flip side, he's going to have to replace Kyler Murray. He's got solid running backs. He's picked them up. You got Titty Booger Knight he's going to put in. He's got Deontay Foreman. He's got the Travis Etienne. And you know what would be ironic? You know what would be ironic? Is if Travis Etienne went off, got Cass the victory, which then knocked Denny out after Denny handed Etienne over to Cass for a bag of peanuts and a handshake. That would be irony, but we're not going to go there. It hasn't happened yet. We'll see what happens. Like I said, this week's a big week. I got Cass beating Cal. Cal's team's awful. Cass gets the dub this week. He needs the dub. Probably will get him into the playoffs. So congrats to that, Cass. Final game. The Titty versus the Llama. Meaningless game. Llama is pretty much clinched for the playoffs. Yes, if Llama loses and all three of those guys win, they're all going to be tied with the same record. Llama has the second most points. Llama's guaranteed a 2 or 3 spot right now. So this game means nothing. He's going to be the 2 or the 3 seed. Pat, on the other hand, he was rolling for a while. He could have beat Denny last week, could have crushed his hopes. He was playing spoiler. He didn't do it. The same thing that's gotten him all season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took a dump on him again last week. Tom Brady's just been terrible. Leonard Fournette hasn't been doing it for him, and he still put up a good amount of points last week. But if those two guys just were average, then he would have won. He would have beat Denny. So a lot of things fell right for Denny last week, and this week I think Llama loses to Pat. I think Pat gets the dub. Llama's team's really good, but I just think Pat's team, a couple of their guys had down weeks last week. I think they come out and they beat Llama. It's not really going to affect Llama either way, but Pat gets to end the season on a high note. So those are all our individual games. Just to do a quick recap, Josh has the number 1 seed clinched. Llama has a 2 or 3 seed basically clinched. But Learning Computer, if he goes down, if Learning Computer loses to Josh this week, and Denny and Cass win, Learning Computer's out, which would be insane to say. But that's the case for Learning Computer. Cass wins, he's in. He has too much of a point differential over Denny, and Learning Computer has too much of a point differential over Denny. So if Cass wins, he's basically in. Denny's the interesting one. Denny has to win. He has to hope for a Cass loss or a Learning loss. One of those two if Denny wins and one of those two teams loses, Denny's in that 4th spot, and he would play Josh in the round 1. And who's beaten Josh? Josh has 3 losses this year. 2 of them, Denny. So he would play him in the first round of the playoffs. Denny's Josh's kryptonite right now for the year. So we'll see. Denny has to get that dub, though. That's the big thing. He's playing Jace, so he should get the dub. Jace's team is not that good. He needs Josh to beat Roman. Cass is going to smoke Cal. Cal's team is a garbage can. So Denny is Josh's biggest fan right now. We'll see what happens. But man, we got a huge week of fantasy, guys. The season's coming to an end. Playoffs start next week, which is crazy to think. We really don't know what the matchups are going to be, and that'll be a fun little episode next week to go over those matchups. But this week hasn't even started yet. So good luck to everyone. I hope everyone's team stays healthy going into the playoffs. That's the way we want it. And go Chiefs, go Bears, stay safe. Love you guys.